conducting the class test, online class test for ACTB students. More details are shared with you on WhatsApp. The syllabus for this class test is fourth and fifth unit of each subjects, and it is the purely objective type unit test, having the 17 questions. Out of that, 9 questions are 1 marks, and other 8 questions are for the 2 marks. 40% marks are required to qualify that test. That is the passing criteria is 40%. So be prepared for the test, schedule and timetable, and your login ID and passwords are shared with you till today evening. Mostly your password and your login ID is your roll number, and password is shared with you. There is one limitation for that test is it having the 30 minutes test, and all students must give their test on given time. There is no excuse for the latecomers, and absentee will mark for your marks. Okay, this is the announcement for you. Now we are start the lecture. Today's our topic is development process of embedded system. This is the our subject is embedded system, and we are seeing the embedded system. Today's topic is development process. Generally, in any kind of work, several tasks needed to be done in the progression of meetings, purpose of goals, and intent accomplishing through that efforts. In addressing what we need to achieve from that meeting is the numerous input and the output uh, and the complete content of the task which are we performing anytime. Now, the activity estimated necessary in the making of the software development process will jointly become so-called the embedded system development process when they are planned in the logical manner. We have already seen the what are the development process or the software development process in software engineering. There are the many methods of the software developments, but software development with the embedded system is having the some difference from the normal software development. The development process, the development process of the embedded system mainly includes the hardware design process and the software design process. Unlike the design process of the software on the typical platform, the embedded system design implements that both hardware and softwares are being the designed similarly. Although is not continuously is the case, it is true for the many design currently. The different implementations of this concurrent design process profoundly impact how the embedded systems are designed. Before we are seeing the what is the development process, we are firstly see the what is the embedded system. We are revising the embedded system. The embedded system can be defined as a one comprising a processor, associate peripherals, and the software used for the particular process or that particular purpose. It performs a well-defined task, and the categories of the embedded system, which are includes the standalone embedded system, real-time embedded system, network appliances by using embedded system, and the mobile devices, which are also include the embedded system. Then, what are the elements of the embedded system which are we want to require for the development? There are the number of elements which are required for the embedded system, but mainly we can say that the important elements are the processor, microprocessor, microcontroller, and DSP. After the elements, we are also needed the associate peripherals. Only elements can't develop the embedded system. It required the additional peripherals. That are proto, protocol converters, communication interfaces, and the drivers of that software. The, the program of the embedded system is written in any language to control the operation of the entire hardware system. After the basic information of the embedded system, we are having the some issues which are important in the system design process. These are the determine the requirements, design the system architecture, select the perfect OS for that hardware or the suitable OS for that hardware, choose the processor and the peripherals, choose the development platform, code the application and the optimize that code, verify the software on the host system, and verify the software on the customer system or the target system. These are the basic issues, or we can say that basic steps when we are develop the any software or the any embedded system. Out of that, first one is the determine the requirements. Determine the requirements, that means we are having the two types of the requirement, that is the functional requirement and the non-functional requirements. uh, we can find the functional requirements of the software also, and the non-functional requirement of that system also. Multimode or the multifunctional systems are also used in the development of the embedded system, and it depends on the size, cost, and weight of that uh, features of that embedded system. While the choosing the hardware component, application are specific hardware requirement is needed. We are also needed the external interferences. We are also having the choice with the input and output devices of that embedded system. Second is the design of the architecture. When we are designing the system architecture, the architecture of the embedded system is dependent on mainly whether the system is real time. Second, whether the operating system needs to be the embedded, and the cost of the embedded system, size of the system, and the mainly power consumption of that system. And including these features, we are design or select the hardware, and then we can design the system architecture. Next point is the selecting the operating system which are suitable for that hardware. When we select the any hardware, it having the different operating systems for operating that hardware. If operating system we can select on the basis of real-time operating systems like RT Linux, VxWorks, SOS, QNX, or the others, or the non-linear operating system like the Windows, embedded Windows XP, and others. Next is the after the operating system, we are want to select the processor and the peripherals. Mainly, processor is the main part of the embedded system. The following processors can be used in the development of the embedded system. One is the microprocessor 8085, 8086 Pentium processors. Other are the microcontrollers PIC, microcontroller CS51, microcontroller SP430, and the etc. Digital signal processors also used to develop the embedded system, but we want to choose the processor on the basis of the platform which is required or which is selected for the developing the embedded system. Next is the choose the development platform. The development platform of the embedded system includes mainly hardware platform, programming language, operating system, and the development tools, which are the interconnected with the each other. After that, we are having the code of the application, and after the designing or the coding the program or the software, we are optimize that code. Mostly the coding of the embedded system can be done by using the many programming languages such as the assembly language, C language, object oriented languages like the like the C++, Java. And then we want to optimize that code which are saved in the small memory of the hardware. Next is the testing of that software or the testing of the embedded system. The testing is detailed testing methods we have seen later, but the testing in two parts. One is the testing at the host system and testing at the target system. When they verify the software on the host system, that means we are verifying the compile and assemble the source code into the object file. And also we are use a simulator to simulate the work of that system. While when we are verifying the software on the client side or the target system, we are having the download that program using the programmer device, and then we can use a emulator or the any chip which are debugging tools to verify that software. These are the issues. Next point is the installation of that program. Install the program. The To install that program, we need a microcontroller, and which is divided into the again some points. First one is the programmer hardware. To install the development code into the microcontroller needs the following main items. One is the programmer hardware. Programming hardware or the programmer hardware, the hardware of the embedded system can be communicated to both. That means the microcontroller as well as the personal computer. This allows it to get the what the personal computer is saying and the write those the microcontroller chip. Here the USB interference is used to communicate between the personal computer and the uh, microcontrollers to communicate with each other. Second one is the programmer software. The programmer software of the embedded system runs on the programmer's computer, where you can run the IDE tools. The main function of these tools is to read the data from the hex file produced by the C compiler and transfer them to the hardware alliance on the USB port. The next is the development board. The development board is the final and most essential piece of the embedded system development process. This board makes it easy to work with the microcontroller while throughout the learning phase. A simple hardware development board has some important features. Next feature is the power supply circuit. Power supply circuit helps simple connection with a DC motor. It helps in connecting with the DC adapter. It alters 12 volts from an adapter to the 5 volts for and the operation of the microcontrollers. It also makes these 5 volts assembles in mail headers so that the operating can be get 5 volts for the microcontroller's operations. For the instant to power the model, you need to interface with the microcontrollers. To make the practice compatible, this unit also include a power switch off, power switch on buttons on the boards, and the LED to specify the status of the powers of that board. Next is the crystal oscillator. A crystal oscillator is the heart of the microcontroller unit. For exact timing of your application, you require a crystal oscillator. It offers a temperature and voltage independence with the clock source. To maintain the time and synchronize the any device with the clock, we need a crystal oscillator. Next is the ISP headers. ISP header is used to modernize the program of the MCU microprocessor control units without changing it from the board. There, the programmer is linked using a cable with the microcontroller control unit. Last feature is the input output ports. The input outputs are used to connect the microcontrollers boards to the external world. All the peripherals are aligned using these ports. They are existing in the mail headers so that user can make a construction to them very simply. Input output ports are mostly USB ports which are used to communicate with the external devices. Now, the next point is how we can create a good product in the embedded system. As we can see the diagram on the screen, that is the first step to create a product is the we are having or we are requiring the idea. Then after the idea we need to technical specifications, then we are needing to design the architecture, then we are after designing we are finding the components and designing finalize the design of that system, then we are having the test plan of that system, then design implementation, that is the actual implementation coding and the connections, then POC prototype development, then field trials which are the actual customer trials, then final product design phase, and then we can launch our product. Out of this stage, first stage is the idealization or the purpose of the product. When we think that we are want to design the embedded system, behind that we are having any idea, that is the this is the stage where and the idea is discussed with all stakeholders and the brainstorm to be conclude if the idea is worth taking the development stage. The market data is collected from the online research, interviews, and the customers' prospects, other people facing the market to the make a case with two important points. One is the problem, and second one is the price. First is the what is the problem? The problem of the product will solve all the features of product could be segmented into the urgent needs, good to have any luxury. More you are solving the urgent needs better than the response from the market would be the our product. And second one is the price. The price at which customer would be willing to pay for the solving that problem. The cost of manufacturing and selling the product of should be minimum 50% of the actual price to the customer at less than we are developing at the 100 units volume as a thumb rule. For the higher volumes, the price will definitely decrease and less percentage. This is the most challenging and important task when we are defining the product. Second one is the technical specifications. We need the detailed technical specifications before going to design the system architecture. Many engineers choose the time and efforts because they don't have a clear technical specification of their products. 1 minute. कोणाचा माईक चालू आहे त्याने तो म्यूट मोडवर टाका. Those students having the mic, please put on the mute mode. Technical specifications. Many engineers or the many companies or the many software or the hardware developers of the embedded system lose their time because they don't know actual technical specification of their products. They start with the design and keep addressing as the discover more. At the end, they end up redoing part of the design because old architecture does not hold the good for the new requirements. And this is the huge waste of the time, efforts, and cost also. A detailed technical design requirements specification document should be created. And after that, product specification should cover the main things like the purpose of the product, block diagram of the product, main features of the products, environmental conditions, manufacturing requirements, and other requirements. We are continuing our point. We are seeing the what is the idealization and the what is the technical specifications when we are creating the product. Next point is the designing the architecture. After the finalizing a detailed technical specification documents, it's time to architect the solution. One a high level uh, or a local level, how the design will look like, what are the strategies we want to build the solution of the problem, which types of power supply we are requiring to design the system, which types of wireless connections, how the firmware design and mobile application, PC software, cloud basic applications needed. We want to decide at this architecture level. For the hardware design part, this form the basic for the next step, which is the selecting the appropriate component for each block or the part of the circuit based on the various critical parameters. Parameters are like the quality of that part, size of the part which is suitable for our product or not, features, cost, lead time, estimated execution times. These are the many parameters which are the having the critical issues. Here you need to define the system level block diagram, which is designed in the technical specification, and add more details to execution flow using a flowchart for the firmware or the software part. The next part is the component selection and the design finalization. After the architect designing, we are having the next part is the component finalization or the component selection. Once the architecture is done, engineers needs to look at the each block in the system and select the components and finalize that design. If the component is not available, we can find the replacement of that component, and as per the new components are entered, we can redesign the our system and then finalize that system. An engineer in this step will decide, for example, a power supply, which type of power supply needed to be designed, like using a linear regulator or the DC switching converter or the something else. Then which power chip needed to use in its application circuit. Everything is decided in this stage. The hardware component selection is the another critical task that needs great care. We need the how we can select the electrical or the electronic components as the main part of the hardware of that embedded system. Next is the creating a test plan. Hardware and software testing is very important to check the reliability of the product. Customer pay for the working product and get the frustrated with the product which does not meet the expectations or the fail much more times. And so it is more important to we can test our product before delivered to the customer. The companies spend a huge amount of the time testing their product so that their customer does not experience any issues. For the any embedded product, you need to define a proper testing plan, and it should be cover hardware design validation, software design validation, and the product level product testing. The creating a test plan before the design implementation helps incorporate any changes if required in the design to the enable the testing. Next is the design implementation with the hardware, firmware, software, and the enclosed designing. This is the core engineering stage of the implementation. Here, the architecture is converted into the design. For hardware, the semantic capture, PCB layout, and other will be done in the design, while MCU firmwares and if any software is required will be developed. Enclosed the design work will also the come in this stage, while a necessary review system needs to put in a place to ensure the first time rights is developed. Next is the proof of concepts, that is POC, prototype development, and the testing. Proof of concept or the POC is a design is completed newly, or if you don't have the confidence on your full design or a part of design, it is good idea to build a prototype. Sometimes buying readily available block level modules and the connecting them to form a system, writing a basic firmware and testing in the simulated environment helps gain initial confidence on the design performance. This could save a huge amount of the money, efforts, and the time otherwise might get wasted if a respin of the design is required due to the some issue after the production started. Once this is proven on the prototype, you can build the prototype and paste it again for the functionality and environmental conditions. After designing prototype, we can start the field trial. That is the we want to design a actual product. You might have heard engineers saying that their product works well in their lab but has the issue in the field. And so field conditions are different. Engineer needs to think through what all conditions their product will go through in the field, and so that they can reproduce those conditions and check the performance of their product even before sending the product out in the field. Not only field conditions but the user is also different, and so engineers also need to think on the how a layman will be handle their products in the field. One example for the field test is if a power supply conditions need to be done in the field, it is good idea to have over voltage and the reverse polarity protection for the power supply input. Imagine a layman in the field connecting to the wrong power supply, that is the at the positive end we can user connect the negative point, and at the negative end user connect the positive point, or connecting reverse may damage the product. For same reason, many companies provide power supply also along with the product, and having a matching connector that can the connect is one directions only. And so it eliminates the possibility of the wrong power supply or a reverse connection, and it also decrease the damage of that product. But not in all products it is possible to give the connector with that products. Another example is if the product has wireless connectivity, the signal strength or reliability of the connections will depend on the coverage area. Many times it is not easy to have this replicated in the lab, so the field test is necessary to the perform the performance and how your product is handling all the scenario. Environmental conditions are another things that your product will go through in the field. That is the temperature, humidity, vibrations, pressures, and on other factors can have and the impact on the product of the performance. Next is the final product improvements. After the field trials are done for the several weeks and the months, all the improvements need to be incorporated in the design based on the feedback. If the during the field trials some issues are found, you will need to also improve the test products or the procedures you follow during the design validation and the product testing stage. And last point is the product release. Before the launching the product, several other things need to be put in the place other than the product itself, like as various product sorry like as the various product certifications based on the features it has and the countries it will be sold in. And the main is the documentation is necessary with the product release. Product page on the website, quick introduction video, data sheets, user guidance, setting up and the support channel, and the online support is also important with the product launch. These are the some features with the product creation. Now next point is the what is the architecture of the embedded system. The figure shows that the configuration diagram or the basic architecture or the embedded systems, which are having the two parts. One is the software and the hardware embedded system. Primary includes the processor, memory, bus, peripheral devices, input outputs, and the various controllers. The embedded softwares usually contain the embedded operations or the embedded operating systems and the various applications. The input and the output are the characteristics of the any open system, and the embedded system is no exceptions. In this embedded system, the hardware and the software often collaborates to deal with the various input signals from the outside and the output the processing results to the sum forms. The input signals may be and the and device such as the keyboards, mouse, touch screens, touchpads, or the output of the sensor circuits in the another embedded system. The output may be in the form of sound, light, electricity, or the another analog signals of the database. After the basic architecture, we can see the type of hardware architectures. The basic component system components, microprocessors, memories, and the input and the output modules are interconnected by the system bus in order for the all the parts communicated and executed in the program. In figure, we can see the all the connections with their components. In the embedded system, the microprocessor roles and the functions are usually the same as those of the CPU. In the general computers, that means execute the instructions and process the data. In many cases, microprocessors is and the embedded system is also called the control processing units. Memory is used to store the instruction and data, while the input output modules are responsible for the data exchange between the processors, memory, and the external devices. The external devices include the secondary storage devices if the primary is not sufficient. There are basically two types of architectures that apply the embedded system. One is the von Neumann architecture, and second one is the hardware architecture. First one is the Neumann architecture. The Neumann architecture, which is we can see in the figure, also called as the Princeton's architecture, was firstly proposed by the John Newman. The most important feature of the architecture is that software and the data used at the same memory. As we can see in the figure, that is the program is the data and the data is the program. And so we did not need the two separate memories for the instruction and the data. In the Neumann architecture, and the instructions and the data shares the same bus. In this architecture, the transmission of the information becomes the bottleneck of the computer performance and the affect the speed of data processing. So it is often called the Neumann bottleneck architectures also. Second one is the hardware Harvard's architecture was first named after the Harvard's mark. The compare with the Neumann's architecture, the Harvard architecture processor has two outstanding features. One is the instruction and data are stored in the two separate memory modules. Instructions and data do not coexist in the same modules. Second one is the two independent buses are used as the dedicated communication path between the CPU and memory. And there is no connection between the two buses. And so data transfer make faster because the hardware architecture has separate program memory and the data memory. It can provide the greater data memory bandwidth, making it the ideal choice for the digital signal process. Most systems designed for the digital signal processing adopt the Harvard's architecture. The Neumann architecture features simple hardware design and the flexible program and data storage, and it's usually the one chosen for the general purpose. To effectively perform memory read or write operations, the processor is not directly connected to the main memory, but to the cache. Commonly, one difference between hardware architecture and the Neumann architecture is the single or the dual L1 cache. In the hardware architecture, the L1 cache is often divided into between the instruction cache and the memory cache, but Neumann architecture has a single cache, which is the benefit of the Neumann architecture. Then what is the importance of the embedded system? There are the mainly two importance of the embedded system architecture. First one is that each embedded gadget has the architecture whether or not it's mild or it's documented, because every embedded system consists of the interacting elements, and the architecture by way of the definition is a fix of the representation of these factors and their relationships with that factors. In the place of the having a faulty and a stiffy price architecture force on you that through no longer taking the time to define the structure earlier than beginning improvements. Second is the because of the embedded architecture captures derived views which can representations of the system. It is beneficial device in understanding of all the major factors. None of the factors within the embedded device work in the vacuum. Each details inside a device interacts with the some different details in the few fashions. After seeing the importance, we are seeing the what are the software testing methods in the embedded system. When we are performing the embedded software testing, we are recommended four phases of that software testing. And the four phases are as shown in the slide. Compliance, combinational, statistics, and the extreme testing, which are used for the testing. And lastly, we are seeing the what are the applications of the embedded system. The application areas of the embedded systems include the consumer electronics, office automations, industrial automations, biomedical systems, field instructions, telecommunications, wireless technologies, computer networking, securities, finance, and so on. Some examples of these areas are micro microwave ovens, washing machines, smart cell phones, smart automobiles, aircrafts and home theater systems, digital watches, near every Apple product, electric toothbrush, electric razors, multimeters, calculators, and many more. At the end, embedded system with the real-time applications we are completed. Thank you very much. If you are having any doubt, please ping me on WhatsApp, or if you are required the video on specific topic, then also mention the topics in WhatsApp or the your our classroom also. Some more videos are uploaded on the websites also. Please watch that videos, and if having any problem, put on our classroom or the WhatsApp also. Thank you. Is our 6 units completed mostly? If any problem, we are here to help you.